So today we're going to talk about the VCT teams and what tier they are in. Now, just to be clear with what this is basically me predicting, not going like who is the best teams at lock-in. The results tell you that. This is me predicting based on how they played at lock-in and, the things that we know about the teams, how do I think that they will overall perform in their respective VCT leagues. So, first team is 100 Thieves, an interesting team right off the bat. Where do we put 100 Thieves? And this one is an interesting one because they did win 2 games, 100 Thieves. They did win 2 games, but it wasn't the cleanest, and I think most people will probably say they weren't against like the highest quality opposition. And then they kind of got rolled by Fnatic for most of their game. I think overall, from what I saw from 100 Thieves, is that, yeah, they weren't majorly impressive, right? I think the only argument would be between B and A. I think I'm gonna put them in low A because I still kind of think that they have the talent and the team to be pretty decent. So Foot beat Regum, lost to 100 Thieves after beating them on Lotus, so it was a 2-1. I think Kiwi probably was a name that, kind of surprised a lot of people. And, had obviously a pop-off performance on Lotus. And actually, Foot's Lotus looked better than most teams, actually. So kind of surprisingly, they just look better on Lotus than most teams, which, is like a good thing. I think that's a strength going into any kind of thing, being good at a map that no one else is good on. So I think the Foot, for me, like, I would say they're probably like in between B and C, like 100 Thieves are kind of in between A and B. I'd be thinking in between B and C, but maybe let's skew positive. These might change as we fill up the list, but let's skew positive and put Foot in the B tier for now. Okay, next is Heretics, and Heretics crashed out to EG. I don't think they looked great. EG I thought played pretty well in that game, but then EG themselves got eliminated, and I don't think EG are any like super team or anything, so I feel like Heretics probably have to be a C-tier team just based off what we saw there. Heretics, I kind of was going in a bit like, well, I think we'll see. I think coming out, I would have probably thought, yeah, they're going to be a B or C team based on how they did, and they didn't do well, so they're going to be a C-tier team. Okay, Navi. I mean, this one's an easy one. Navi are an S-tier team. I don't think anyone would disagree. I know everyone keeps thinking that they got stomped by Fnatic, but actually 2 of those maps were 13-11. And to me, that's not a stomp, right? The second map on Lotus, that was a stomp. The other 2 maps were 13-11, and, it easily, you change, literally 1 round, and Navi might, win that. And in on Fracture, didn't they have a defuse that was, 0.5 seconds off or whatever, a really close defuse that they almost got? Might even think that Navi, could win the EMEA thing, and that wouldn't be a shock, of course, at all. Okay, NRG, we can't quite see their thing, but NRG obviously, did pretty well. Did drop a map to Koi and whatnot, but did pretty well, and then obviously lost to Loud in that classic, but lost in a very close fashion, right? An overtime on Fracture, very easily could have won the game. I think again, you'd be hard pressed not to put NRG in S tier. I wouldn't really see an argument for that, to be honest, because to me they still looked pretty good. Yeah, maybe not the top of S, but I think a low S tier team. To me, an S tier team is a team that if they didn't qualify for Tokyo, I would be very surprised. That to me is an S tier team. If NRG didn't make it to Tokyo, even with only 3 slots, I would be very surprised. That's an S tier team. An A tier team for me is someone who's competing for Tokyo, might make it, but not necessarily. But NRG, I would be very surprised if they didn't make it. Okay, next is MIBR. MIBR crashed out pretty early to Talon. I mean, I wasn't too impressed with MIBR, to be honest. I think that they've still got talent. I don't think that they're gonna be just a walkover for every team. They still have talent. But I wasn't too impressed with them. So I think I'm going to put them as a low C tier team based off what we saw. And next we have BBL. Now BBL, to me, they lost to obviously they got a pretty rough draw in DRX first round. They lost 2-1. They did win Ascent. They took a map off DRX. That's not bad. To me though, the problem with a team like BBL is just their map pool, I think, where some maps like Ascent, where, you know, they're going to be a fight, probably no matter who they play, to be honest, where they're going to be able to put up. But then on other maps, it's just like, you don't stand a chance. That's what I kind of see for BBL. So I think, again, that's going to be like a C-tier team. I'm going to put them just below Heretics, but above MIBR, I think. Next up is Cloud9. This one should be fun. So, Cloud9, obviously you could say, is a difficult one because they got a different team. The 3 players that they still have, and we don't know there are other 2 players at this point whilst I'm making this. The 3 players that they do have are pretty good players. But Cloud9 are going to the bottom of this list for trolling. I don't know if Cloud9 have an accountant, but I don't understand how in the gap of 5 months, you can sign a player with a big salary. Surely you know when your sponsor, like if it is to do with sponsor stuff, surely you know when those contracts end. Who's punching in the numbers for Cloud9 that like literally just months into starting this? I mean, you play 2 games as a team and then it's over because, oh, we didn't have enough money. What is going on? Detonation Gaming. Okay, so Detonation Gaming got rolled by Giants, essentially. This is what I would call pretty much a roll, right? 13-4, 13-7. Giants aren't some super team, right? If this was Fnatic or, you know, Navi or Loud or someone, yeah, maybe fair enough, right? You got a bad draw, sucks. Giants are like a decent, maybe above average team. Shouldn't be getting rolled against that kind of team. So Detonation for me, it's not looking great. They're above Cloud9 because at least they aren't trolling. Okay, DRX. Now I saw the Plat Chat list, and they had DRX in A tier. DRX are an S tier team. I have no like. How can DRX not be an S tier? Like if DRX win Ascent, do you still think they put them in A tier? Right? If DRX make it to the final, do you still think they'll put them in A tier? Because I don't. Right? It was 3-2. Like DRX. Are clearly a good team. Yeah, they've got weaknesses, don't get me wrong. They're not a perfect team. You're trolling if you don't think DRX are an S-tier team. You're just trolling. Okay, EG. EG beat Heretics 2-0 and then lost to Talon. In their first game, I was actually pretty impressed with what they showed EG. But in their second game against Talon, it like, you know, you saw some of the problems that they still have. And look, they're still a, you know, relatively new team, so that's not like crazy unexpected. I think EG are like your prototypical B tier team. I think they are a prototypical B tier team. Where could they make it to Masters Tokyo if everything goes right? Yes. But it's unlikely, I think. Okay, Fnatic, easiest one on the list. Don't need to really talk about this one. They won the event. Don't know if you knew. They won the event, so they're going to the top of the S tier, and they looked pretty good for pretty much all of the tournament outside of a couple maps against Loud. Okay, this one. Furia. Furia is an interesting one. I think Furia are like a high B, low A team. I think they're a pretty decent team, right? I mean, they pushed Fnatic pretty far, right? They like really did push Fnatic pretty far, further than most. I think Furia showed enough to be considered a low A tier team. I'm not willing to put them above 100 Thieves because I'd need to see more, and I think they did have some struggles at certain times on certain maps. But I think that I saw enough to where their players are good enough on their team, and if they can have, you know, more maps like that Haven map, that they can be pretty good. They'd either be the top of the B tier, or I think the lowest in the A tier. Next is Gen G. Now, Gen G are probably one of the hardest teams to rank on this. Didn't they make a roster change? They lost to Loud. They didn't play too bad. King played really well, I thought. To me, Gen G, I'm going to put them in the clubhouse with EG and Foot. They did only play one game. So I think I'm going to put them in the middle of those two teams. They're a hard team to rank because they played well but lost to Loud. Because they did some decent stuff, but, you know, they did lose. Okay, next up is Giants. They did beat NRG on Lotus. They then absolutely trolled. I mean, we're trolling map vetoes here as well, and it just looked like, yeah, we had no idea what was going on. And then Icebox wasn't particularly close either. They do have some good players, but Fortino is a bit too hit and miss, I think, to put them in the A tier. So I think I am going to put them at the top of the B tier Giants. Global Esports. This is a tough one. You know, I know that the pred was for this. This is, yeah, a really tough one. It was against Vitality. 2-1 against Vitality. And they got destroyed on split. But I think this might have been a bit of a nerves thing. And you know, things not quite going right. They then won on Pearl. And looked decent. And then they played Lotus and lost. So this is why this is so tough, right? Because, you know, map 1, they got destroyed this hard. Like, and this was their map pick. You're probably thinking like, yeah, that's rough. But then they won Pearl. So maybe this was just like nerves on map 1, and then, you know, they actually played well on map 2, and then Lotus is a map with, you know, maybe you don't understand, you know, it's a new map, and, you know, maybe it's not amazing for you. Kind of tough. So this is why GE is such a difficult one to rank. I think I am gonna put them at the top of the C tier. Okay, next is Karmine. Oh my. Karmine with Scream, Navera, and the French boys. They're right in here with GE, I think. This C to B tier. I think I might put them low B tier. Scream's good enough. Like, Scream and Navera are just good enough as players. I mean, are they above Foot? I think they are above Foot. I think they're quite similar to Foot, actually. I think these two next to each other makes a lot of sense. Because they have, like, some star players that can just, like, pop off. So, yeah, I think I'm going to put them there by Foot. Okay, KRU. KRU apparently signing Kesnet again, which if they are, then that's good. I think they're getting rid of their coach as well, which I don't know who's going to replace them. And yeah, don't know much about that. KRU, I think I'm going to put in the C tier. Put them by BBL. It's kind of tough to know because we don't know exactly who's going to be like playing for them. So it's a bit difficult to rank. They had a tough match against Navi first, so, you know, that makes it even more difficult. Like, you know, if they would have played against, you know, Karmine and lost, then, you know, we'd have a much better idea of where, you know, where these teams are relative. But they played Navi, so it's a bit like, don't know. Right, don't know. So yeah, I'm going to put them in the C tier. I'll throw, with the Kesnet buff, I'll put them above Heretics, because I like Kesnet. Okay, Leviatán. This one's easy for me. Leviatán are the top A tier team. Leviatán are the gatekeepers of the S tier. If you're better than Leviatán, you're an S tier team. If you're worse than Leviatán, you're an A tier team. Or lower. Like, this one's the easiest one of all. Right? Just the absolute easiest one of all. Like, they literally cannot go anywhere else. They are the top A team. But they are not an S tier team. Loud are obviously S tier. I don't know why the triangle is kind of cut off there. But yeah, we'll put Loud second. Like the meta innovations. Yeah. Pretty obvious. To me, these are the 5 S tier teams. These are the 5 teams that I would expect to be competing for the title in Tokyo. Right? I would expect one of these 5 teams is going to win in Tokyo. Especially because it's double elim as well, right? So even if they have one bad game, they can still, you know, bounce back. If one of these teams didn't win it, someone else has either massively improved, or something has gone kind of crazy. Okay, RRQ. And thought we're a bit better than we thought. But RRQ, it's tough when Reina gets picked. It's tough. It automatically gives me this predisposition bias against a team. You know, I think I was actually a bit higher on RRQ coming into this tournament than most people were. I did pick them, the Reina pick. I'll put them, they're above Detonation. But for being in the, I mean, just for being here in the chat, I mean, that's got to get you at least up a tier. I mean, if anyone else's coach is here in the chat, then, I mean, that's got to move you up a tier just for being here. Because then I don't want to insult people. Next up is Sentinels. This one should be fun. Where do we put Sentinels on this list? I'm going to put them in B tier. Look, I'm going to put Sentinels in B tier. Are they above EG? They've got better players than EG, in my opinion. So I am going to put them above EG. I think they'll improve with time. I think Sentinels didn't look great. They clearly still need to get on the same page, but they've got enough good players that, you know, by the end of this, will I be putting it, you know, come to Tokyo? Could they make it to Tokyo? Yeah, probably. You know what? F it. Put them at the top of B tier. Put them at the top of B tier. F it. Yeah, they didn't play great. This is a prediction. Look at their players. They got Sassy Pancada. They got Tens. Zekken's insane. And Def's an IGL. You know? So, I'm putting them at the top. T1, man. I think I'm just going to put them in the middle of C. What was the scores again? What happened in that game? I've actually kind of forgotten what happened. They lost to Furia. Pearl was... wow, it was 13-7. I thought it was closer than that. 13... oh, no, yeah. You're going in C. You're going in C, T1. Deal with it. You're down there. You got destroyed. Talon. Another interesting one. Talon. Where on earth do I put Talon? Some people are saying A. Some people are saying B. I think I'll be nice. I enjoyed Talon. I like Talon. And I think in the Pacific region, where, you know, we've got kind of one clearly favorite team, but then the rest, kind of who knows? Go on, I'll put them at the bottom of A. I'll put them at the bottom of A. Why not? They look pretty good. And I like them. Okay, here's an interesting one. I already know where I'm going to put Team Liquid. Okay, I already know. There's going to be a little club. There's going to be a little fan club for teams that were meant to be good, but weren't. There's going to be a little club. And that club is at the bottom of B. Team Liquid are going to the bottom of B. The reason is they got good players. They got Nats. Nats is a big saving grace. I'm not putting Nats in the C tier. But if they continue to be Botquid instead of Liquid, don't make me regret putting you in the B tier. Let's put it that way. You know, by the end of this little split, I better be thinking they're coming up to A. Team Secret, I think I'm going to put... they had one good performance, then they kind of got destroyed by Navi, but that's a bit rough. I think I'm going to put them in B tier as well. I'm going to put them above EG. I think this is a pretty fair ranking for Team Secret based off what we saw, right? Like, okay, Vitality. Actually, I thought it looked pretty good. Out of the EMEA teams not in the S tier, I think they were probably the best. So I'll put them in A tier. Why not? We'll put them above Talon, but below Furia. We'll put them there. I think they look pretty good. Yeah, I thought Twiston looked good. Just thought they were a pretty solid team, to be honest. Zeta is next. Oh, this one's rough. Where do I put Zeta? I mean, it lost to Leviatán. I'm running out of faith. It's been like, it's gonna be more than a year, right? I think it has to be top C. I'd love to put them in B, but I think it has to be top C. It looked a bit rough at times. They keep changing IGL, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Whatever worked at Reykjavik, literally just go back to it, right? You've got the same team. Watch your Reykjavik VODs and just think, this is how we're going to play. Okay, next, Paper Rex. Paper Rex joined the club of Liquid. It wasn't quite as bad as Liquid, I don't think. But you're in the naughty corner, which is the low B tier. You're in the naughty club. I think that Koi are a pretty good team. I think that Koi would be my top B tier team. Personally. I think I'm going to put them at the top of B tier, where I think they easily could be an A tier team by the end of it. I think they've got the talent to be an A tier team for sure. Haven was a bit less close. They kept saving. They need to stop saving. But other than that, I kind of have faith in Koi. So I'm going to put them at the top of B. This is my tier list. If you disagree, I don't care. I really don't care. But there it is. I think it's a good tier list. And I'll see you on the other side.